energy solutions that could change the way we live. From one city's bold experiment that could reinvent how we use electricity.
Most people don't understand that electricity actually costs more to generate at different times of the day than others. This information will be very valuable to people if they want to shift their usage to a different time.
To redesigning the way we build our homes.
So this is what the inside of a round house looks like.
Yes.
Thinking outside the box to save energy. And cutting-edge nanotechnology that could surround us in solar power.
If you have a car and you have a sunroof, why not have that sunroof be coated with a transparent solar cell?
What's ahead in our energy future? This is Energy Now. Hello everyone, I'm Thalia Ashuris. Welcome to Energy Now, a weekly look at America's energy challenges and what we're doing about them. Every day, almost everything we do challenges the electricity grid. Think about it. All those gadgets you use from the moment you wake up and turn on the lights to when you power down and go to bed, they all gobble up electricity. Imagine if we were smart about it. We could prevent blackouts and save money on our energy bills. That's where the smart grid of the future you keep hearing about comes in. Well, some residents of Austin, Texas have already smartened up. Josh Zepps takes a look at how their smart grid experiment could one day change how we all use electricity in this Energy Now Spotlight.
Believe it or not, these state-of-the-art screens might just be the future of toast making. Because although warming bread to a golden crisp may seem like a simple process, it ain't so simple when 10 million people do it all at once. Higher and higher spikes in peak energy demand are a serious problem. A problem that this nifty screen could help fix.
We've overlaid energy data that we've gotten from homes that we're monitoring.
University of Texas PhD student Josh Rhodes is one lucky guy. He not only gets to play around with a touchscreen that every teenager on Earth would kill for, but he's part of one of the world's most sophisticated smart grid deployments, Austin's Pecan Street Project.
We can see the peak in the afternoon, corresponding with air conditioning loads in the hottest part of the day. So it just gives us a good visualization of what's going on.
A smart grid is an intelligent, internet-like network that aims to help consumers understand and manage how and when they use electricity, smoothing out the spikes in demand, securing the supply, and saving them money.
Given the past 3 years we've had some crazy experiences and decided to be in a place we loved.
Todd and Hannah Calvert's house may look like any other, but like all houses in their Austin neighborhood of Miller, it's communicating with their power utility about its energy consumption and its solar power production every 15 seconds. The pioneers of the Pecan Street Project believe that it could reinvent how we use electricity across America and the world.
Instead of information flowing to the utility and energy flowing from the utility to you, the energy might flow both ways and the information might flow both ways. So it makes it a smarter system overall. We can make better decisions and kind of take control of our energy consumption.
Michael Weber co-founded the Pecan Street Project, a $30 million public-private partnership, back in 2008, after the city of Austin mandated that the city's peak energy demand be decreased by almost 30% by 2020.
And we came up with the Pecan Street Project, which is a demonstration of some of those ideas. It's smart grid, better information, incorporating gas and water, better pricing plans, real-time price signals, that kind of thing.
An example is my coffee maker. I've spent tons and tons of time finding the perfect coffee maker, and it keeps the water at a specific temperature, so when you put it in, it's at exactly 202 degrees and blah, blah, blah. And I've come to find out, through the monitoring and whatnot, that keeping that water at that temperature is using a significant amount of energy, much more than is worth the really good coffee that it makes.
Most people don't understand that electricity actually costs more to generate at different times of the day than others. This information will be very valuable to people if they want to shift their usage to a different time.
Translation: run things at night, when electricity costs less. Now, that kind of proactive, granular decision-making isn't a reality just yet. At this stage, the project's engineers are still just gathering data. Lab research associate Paul Navratil showed me how.
So this is a graph of 8 houses from the Mueller project of Pecan Street.
This is their energy
usage?
Exactly. And so you're seeing energy usage in red, you're seeing energy generated from their photovoltaic cells in green, and then you have either the net consumption from the grid or even the net energy given back to the grid. And you see here, there's a little bit of excess production, and so that is returned to the grid.
So this was a point at which the house was actually producing more energy than it was consuming?
That's correct.
A home that's constantly finding subtle opportunities to reduce its electricity bill and even to make money selling solar power back to the grid benefits you and the power company.
Up until about 20 years ago, the only solutions were topside supply solutions.
Carl Rubago is in charge of the energy efficiency programs at Austin Energy, the city's utility. He's the interface between the Pecan Street Project and its electricity supply. He sees huge potential.
We've even had extremely high executives in Washington who said things like, well, the solution to this is build a new power plant every week. That's a terrible way to go. There's another side of the equation. We can manage the demand. Usher in the convergence of the information technology era with the compelling need in the electric utility industry to change demand, and you have the seeds of the smart grid.
I find it great that we get to move in a place where they're going to say, we're going to watch your energy and let you know how you use it. And to me, that's a bonus.
Proponents of smart grids say they could change our energy consumption like the internet changed our information consumption.
This is the offending coffee machine.
This is it.
I must say it was pretty good coffee though.
What the smart grid shows is that the world's energy fate needn't be dictated by energy production and how much energy we use, but also by how intelligently we can use it. In Austin, Texas, Josh Zepps, energyNOW.
Saving on your energy bill and still getting a great cup of coffee. Now that is powerful thinking. Right now, the Pecan Street Project includes only about 100 houses, but with the help of a $10 million grant from the Department of Energy, the plan is to expand to 1,000 homes. Until the smart grid becomes a widespread reality, and some say that could take a couple of decades, you can make homes more energy efficient by doing lots of things like taping up ductwork, adding insulation, or switching out incandescent light bulbs to LEDs. On the other hand, as energyNOW's Lee Patrick Sullivan discovered, some people are taking charge of their energy costs by cutting some corners.
For the past 40 years, this Asheville, North Carolina factory has been thinking outside the box. Literally. They're the country's leading manufacturer of round homes. Besides looking cool and having the only round home on the block, what would be another reason why someone would want a round house?
People love round houses for different reasons. A lot of people love the way they look from the inside, that you get the panoramic view as the walls wrap around you. There's about 15% less heat loss in a round home because of its shape.
Basically, Linton says round homes hold the heat in the winter and hold on to the cool air in the summer better than their square counterparts. So why exactly are round homes more energy efficient than square ones? Well, actually, I don't know. I don't have a PhD in engineering, but this man does. Professor, why are round homes more energy efficient than square ones?
Well, if you look at it in sort of a diagram, you see for a round house, the same square footage, you have more insulation. So you have much less heat loss across the walls compared to a square house. The other advantage is in a round house, you don't have corners where you have trapped heat and cold, which doesn't really help in the circulation of air through the building.
And because of their shape, round homes also deflect wind better than square homes. In fact, in 40 years of selling round homes, Deltec has never lost a home to a hurricane. But this isn't the Weather Channel, it's energyNOW, and we're concerned with the energy savings. So this is what the inside of a round house looks like.
So were the Stillwells. The North Carolina couple had conservation in mind when they built their round home. After months of research, the Stillwells found the round shape to be the most energy efficient.
The way we set up our windows, the wind will hit from a side, another side of the house. The wind actually works its way around the house, and it works its way into the windows.
That means when they want a cool breeze, every window can act as a fan. The Stillwells also found out that other energy-efficient aspects of their home, their thermal solar panels and radiant floor heating, also perform better than expected because of the home's ability to retain a constant temperature. And these homes are lowering the homeowner's carbon footprint even before they arrive at the job site. That's because Deltek homes are prefabricated, built in sections in a factory, flat-packed and sent to the job site. The ready-to-assemble homes go up in half the time of a traditional home that's built on site.
And when I was growing up, the word prefab was either the period before the Beatles or a poorly built house. But that has changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, there's really been a paradigm shift over the last 5 or 10 years where people are realizing that prefabricated homes can actually be of better quality. You know, I tell people, when you buy a new car, do you go to the car dealer and ask them to build you a car outside in the parking lot in the rain, or do you buy one that's built in the factory?
Linton says computerized saws allow for more precise cuts, and the factory setting allows Deltek to take any scrap wood and grind it up and send it to other companies to be burned for energy. Prices vary for these round homes depending on the different finishes available. But a 3-bedroom, 1,800 square foot round home costs in the neighborhood of $180,000. That's about $30,000 more than the national average for the same size square home. But the folks at Deltek say because the prefab homes go up in half the time, you make that money back with lower building costs.
Why aren't more people living in round homes?
Well, I think a lot of people haven't even considered the idea. I mean, we would encourage people to give it a chance and get inside of a home. A lot of people like the way a roundhouse looks from the outside, but I've never met anyone that when they're inside a round home just doesn't completely fall in love with the aura that it creates.
Why aren't all homes round?
Well, in generally, it's normally more difficult to build round structures compared to straight structures. It's also, you know, design, in the design phase, people are used to use square buildings.
And Professor Insland says if you look back in history, on every continent, be it the straw huts of Africa, the stone dwellings of medieval Europe, the yurts of Asia, the bush homes of Aboriginal Australia, or the teepees of the Native American nations, when humans' very survival depended on keeping warm in the winter and cool in the hot summer, the shape they chose was round. Lee Patrick Sullivan, Energy Now.
Still to come, surrounding ourselves in solar energy thanks to cutting-edge nanotechnology.
If I could provide you a portable source of energy, you can change the way we experience the world around us.
Plus, solar solutions for everyday life for some of the world's poorest people.
The solar cooker swings 360 degrees, so you can turn it away from the sun. You can do your stirring, you can add your salt and your spices. And then the idea is that you just turn it back to the sun.
Congress can't ignore the facts. More air pollution means more childhood asthma attacks. Log on to lungusa.org and tell Washington, don't weaken the Clean Air Act.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
Welcome back. Have you ever thought about turning to solar power, but the look of those big solar panels turns you off? A lot of people don't like that look, or their cost. But recent breakthroughs in nanotechnology might change all that and a lot more. Energy Now's Josh Zepps met one scientist who is leading the charge towards solar energy solutions that are not only smaller, but transparent too.
Enough sunlight falls on the Earth in a single hour to power the entire planet for a year. Our main tool to capture it, the solar cell, has been getting constantly cheaper and much more efficient. What it hasn't been getting is flexible, scrunchable, durable, paper-light, wafer-thin, and see-through, until now. Vladimir Bulovich is a professor of electrical engineering at MIT and a big fan of solar power. But he's no cheerleader for silicon solar cells.
If I look at the typical 2x4 foot solar cell, it weighs about 40 pounds. If I'm going to ask someone now to install a football field area of these solar cells, he can only take a 2x4 foot chunk and lay it down. To cover a football field with 2x4 foot cells means a lot of cells, a lot of wiring in a scorching sun, and consequently a lot of cost in the process.
Bulovich's vision, instead, is of a world where solar cells are so uncumbersome that we can embed them seamlessly and invisibly into every facet of our lives.
If I could provide you a portable source of energy, you can change the way we experience the world around us.
Bulovich and his team's breakthrough is in making cells out of cutting-edge nanomaterials instead of silicon. Because you can work with those materials at room temperature, instead of at the 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit it takes to melt silicon, they can be laid onto any material he likes. Cardboard, paper, metal foil, even transparent plastic, to make solar cells you can actually see through.
Maybe I can think about having a Kindle that never needs to be charged, because maybe the front screen of it would be transparent solar cell. We are not aiming today to replace the silicon installations that are large area silicon installations. We are aiming to provide ubiquitous access to energy.
Bulovich sees countless applications, even in the developing world.
It turns out there are 150 million new cell phone users every year in Africa. And despite the fact they have no electricity, they are willing to walk 2 hours to a neighboring village where there is electricity, wait for 2 hours to charge the phone, and then walk 2 hours back to their initial village. 6 hours to charge your phone. Maybe I can give them a solar cell to charge their phone. It could be the cardboard box in which the solar cell came. That could be your solar charger.
Bulovich is the first to admit that his cells are not, technically speaking, efficient. The transparent cell only captures about 2% of the energy of the light that hits it. But it's about 1,000 times more lightweight than glass.
You can think about having solar cells everywhere. If you have a car and you have a sunroof, why not have that sunroof be coated with a transparent solar cell? You can coat the skyscrapers on the east side of Manhattan Island so that they can catch all the morning light, and the west side of Manhattan Island so it can catch all the evening light. That's a lot of light you can catch, a lot of energy.
Because the nano world is so tiny, they're dealing with objects 1/50,000th the width of a human hair. Bulovich's team needs a completely pristine environment, which at these scales means a vacuum.
So the cleanest thing I can think about is that I can go ahead and do my work is a place that has absolutely nothing inside except for my nanoworld material I would like to put in. This, though, is a solar cell that is purposely made not to absorb the visible light. We chose to sacrifice a part of the spectrum for the functional purpose of having a transparent cell. Yet it's still functional. It's still able to absorb the sunlight in the infrared part of the spectrum and give me electricity.
And a little bit of the visual spectrum, right? I mean, I can see it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It turns out it's about 70% transparent, but that turns out to be the transparency of a typical tint of an office window.
Right.
So we are no more absorptive than what you would typically do anyhow to tint your windows. So this is just a value added to the window. No extra cost needed for installing the cell.
Bulovich says it's impossible to name an exact price this early in the game, but he points out that the manufacturing process is very similar to making potato chip bags.
If I can make cells indeed weigh much, much less, I will be able to make them much bigger. So maybe I can make a whole roll of them and just unspool them into the field, and hence the wiring would already be done. In that way, I should be able to reduce the cost.
Once you start looking for places where a thin, lightweight, pliable, rugged, transparent source of free electricity might come in handy, the scale of the opportunity makes today's biggest solar arrays seem small. In Cambridge, Massachusetts, Josh Zepps, EnergyNOW.
Professor Bulovich has also worked on a new kind of fluorescent light bulb that's already on the market. Using the same nanomaterials you just saw, his fluorescent mimics a warm, sunny glow and uses 6 times less power than an equivalent incandescent bulb. Still ahead, depending on solar power for survival. Faced with dwindling amounts of firewood for cooking, South Africans are turning to clean energy technology for help.
So you point it just right at the bottom?
Yeah.
Oh, I can see the steam coming
yeah,
out
I can
now.
see now it's hot now.
Harnessing the sun for sustenance when we come back.
We're fighting for voices that need to be heard. For cleaner air and your right to breathe it. For those who want to quit smoking. And for those who need them to. We're fighting for clear skies over every city and healthy lungs throughout the country. The American Lung Association isn't just fighting for air. We're fighting for all the things that make it worth breathing. Join us in the fight at fightingforair.org.
So far in today's show, we've looked at how our generally high-tech, electricity-easy lives are being transformed by new innovations. In the developing world, however, life is a lot different. For so many people, you can't just flick a switch and get power. Take cooking. The fuel is firewood instead. But now, the solution for developing countries could come from an energy source they have in abundance, the sun. More from energyNOW Chief Correspondent Tyler Souters in South Africa.
Here's the Sunfire 15. Here are the kettles.
For a man on a mission, Crosby Menzies is packing light.
I guess I'm an environmentalist by nature, but I don't think environmentalist quite covers it. It's humanist. It's human to want everybody to be okay.
Which is why he's leaving South Africa's big cities, home to some of the world's worst slums, and driving deep into the countryside.
I guess if you live in Africa, you're faced with situations every day that are kind of heartrending, and you're always looking for ways to make it better.
Menzies is a clean energy entrepreneur, helping Africans who rely on firewood for cooking. And in South Africa's rural areas, that's about half the population.
So in Southern Africa, it's the least grid-connected place of any region on the planet. Yeah, we can just do it here.
So his company, Sunfire Solutions, delivers these solar cookers.
The solar cooker swings 360 degrees, so you can turn it away from the sun. You can do your stirring, you can add your salt and your spices, and then the idea is that you just turn it back to the sun.
A way to cook food by tapping an abundant source of energy.
Discovery or the creation of fire has been what sustained human development all the way since we left Africa. So now we're bringing in something that can take the fire from the sun and cook your food every single day. It's revolutionary.
But not all of us left Africa, right?
Not all of us. Some of us have returned with paler skin.
Menzies' quest aside, this is a problem that extends well beyond the borders of South Africa.
You've got 3 billion people who are dependent on traditional forms of, traditional stoves and rudimentary forms of cooking.
Radha Muthia is executive director of the Global Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves. The public-private partnership is now putting millions of cleaner stoves, like these, in unelectrified places around the world.
We've set a goal of 100 million households adopting clean cooking solutions by the year 2020.
And how far along that road are you
Well,
right now?
today the numbers vary, but we think it's somewhere between 2.5 and perhaps 3 million clean cooking solutions that are out there. So
a long way to
it's
go.
a long way to go, but there's a start.
A way, according to the Alliance, to combat climate change.
How much wood do you usually use?
I use too much wood.
Yeah. And you cut it from this area?
Yeah, all the area.
Sibusiso Mkeze is a sustenance farmer, growing enough food for himself and his family, sending what's left to a local co-op market. Mkeze is the recipient of Menzies' latest delivery, the Sunfire 12 solar cooker, and the free sunglasses that come with it.
but it's just for now. So you can
Sunglasses firmly in place, Mkhize proves he's a quick study.
When the sun is this side, so you have to set this one returning and facing the sun.
So you point it just right at the bottom?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I can see the steam coming
out. Yeah, you can see now it's hot now.
8,500 miles away and 60 degrees colder, another solar cooker sits in the front yard of a different chef.
This looks unbelievably strange, and I'm not gonna lie to you.
Jose Andres is a celebrity chef. He has nationally known restaurants in Washington and Los Angeles, and a growing culinary empire. But at heart,
I think I'm a clean energy dreamer.
Andres is culinary ambassador for the Global Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves. Not just a big name, he's also pushing big ideas. He thought of painting this solar cooking pot black to better capture heat.
It's unbelievable. I'm able to cook 1 kilo. In this case, I can fit here 2 kilos of chickpeas, which is a very hard bean to cook in an hour and 10 minutes, only with the sun. It's almost the same time it's going to be taking me in my kitchen using gas.
But Andres is realistic. He says widespread acceptance of solar cookers will take time.
To think that anyone, anytime soon, is going to be changing like this to solar, it's a dream I would love to be in. It's a movie I would love to be part of, but still a lot of more things have to happen.
On rural farms, some of the best snacks don't involve any cooking at all.
Never fresher than this?
It doesn't get better.
Oh man, that's good.
As a bite of grenadilla fruit attests, the South African countryside can be a place of simple pleasures and potentially simple solutions.
They're not asking for a lot. They don't have a big carbon footprint, but let's put tools in their hands, something like a basic cooking system that just allows them to nurture the land and return it to its glory.
The glory of ages past, using clean technology from the present.
Bye, Mrs. Mkhize. Bye, see you later. Hamburgatle.
In South Africa, Tyler Suiters, EnergyNOW.
Jose Andres is quick to point out solar cookers are only one of the options. Cutting down on cooking emissions also means using alternatives to firewood like wood pellets and charcoal. We discussed some of those options with the EPA's Partnership for Clean Indoor Air. That conversation is on our website, energynow.com. And that's it for this week's Energy Now. In fact, that's it for Energy Now. This is our last show. The American Clean Skies Foundation, the nonprofit organization that's funded us, is no longer able to underwrite a weekly news magazine. Energy Now is unique. There is no one else bringing you this kind of independent television journalism on America's pressing energy challenges, from dependence on foreign oil to developing clean energy technology, to the disputes over climate change and even battles over energy-efficient light bulbs. The American Clean Skies Foundation is restructuring its media programs, and later this year will help launch a multi-part series on Bloomberg TV, profiling energy innovators. So look out for more news about that on our website, energynow.com, which is continuing. All our episodes and stories will be there, as well as our blogs, postings from our contributors, and you, our viewers. Finally, I'd like to thank the hardworking, dedicated, talented staff here who care so deeply about the issues we've covered. And together, we thank you for watching and letting us into your homes.